Welcome, everybody, to episode 26 of UnHacked. And guys, UnHacked is a podcast where we empower the busy, overworked, underpaid, overwhelmed, frustrated business owners who happen to care about cybersecurity to outsmart Russian hackers. So I am Justin Shelley, CEO of Phoenix IT Advisors. I work with businesses in the Dallas area as well as Northern Nevada, Utah, and Idaho, kind of all over the place. And I am sitting here, well, we mixed it up a little bit. It's been Bryan for the last couple of weeks, and this week Bryan's out, and Mario is back. Mario, say hi.
Hi, how you guys doing? I hope you guys didn't miss me too much.
Well, we did.
It's good to be back, though.
Well, tell a little bit about what you do, where you're at, and then where you've been. I'm sure you have a story, at least one.
So, my name is Mario Zaki, CEO of Mastech IT. We are a managed service provider in the New York, New Jersey area, servicing the entire tri-state area. And we've been in business for 20-something years now, chugging along, helping small to medium-sized businesses stay protected. And for the last 2 weeks, I was on a vacation back to the motherland of Egypt.
Oh, really?
And yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I knew you were out. I didn't know you were in Egypt.
No, I went to Egypt. I took the wife and the kids. We were there for 2 weeks, which was nowhere near enough time. And we had the time of our life. It was amazing. I haven't been there in like 21 years. And even when I went 21 years ago, it was a family trip. I didn't, we spent the whole time visiting people, but we didn't really get a chance to enjoy it. This time, not only did I enjoy it, I am trying to plan another trip back soon.
Nice.
It was amazing. And, everybody that, I talked to prior to the trip and after, like, oh, how is it there? Is it safe? Justin, when I tell you, not only was it safe, I have never been to a place where everybody is so friendly in my life.
Really?
Yeah. Everywhere we went, from Cairo to the Red Sea to, the pyramids, everybody is super nice. Nobody was ever somewhat even snippy, let alone rude. And, obviously you do have people trying to sell you stuff all the time,
right,
but
yeah.
I came back on Saturday. I had a meeting in Manhattan on Tuesday. The second I hopped off the Lincoln Tunnel, I had 2 people trying to wash my windshield, trying to get money and stuff like that.
Right.
It's like that everywhere. But definitely was an amazing trip. Amazing.
Dang, that sounds amazing. Tell me though, is this where you're from?
Yeah. Originally, I was born there. Came when I was 3.
Okay.
And only been back there once prior to this last trip.
Things I'm learning about Mario today. Yeah, I had no idea. So I don't know if I should admit this, but Mario to me is a Hispanic name. I thought you were like Latin American.
Well, originally it's like, it's an Italian name.
Is it? See, what little I know.
But it's Mario. Everywhere, but Mario, the name Mario is actually getting very popular in Egypt as well. But
okay.
It's 100% Egyptian.
Cool stuff. I had no idea. We're not as good at friends as I thought, I guess.
Well, we're getting there.
We're getting there. All right. We'll wrap this or bring this back to the cybersecurity podcast. So today we're going to talk about really how to know the difference between the tip of the week is about how to know the difference between a good pop-up and a bad pop-up, or, alerts that show up on your computer. Pop-ups usually, if somebody says pop-up to me, I'm thinking what I'm doing on a website, like a web browser pop-up.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be part of it, but your computer will also throw alerts at you too. So we're going to talk about that. And we are also going to break down the largest data leak ever, right? That's how this thing's being billed, right? And,
yeah.
And there's been a lot. I think the last 3 episodes in a row, it feels that way anyways, it's been the biggest, the largest, the most historic, whatever, in ransomware dollars, in the outage that took down the most most people that wasn't cybersecurity directly, but it was a cybersecurity vendor that caused it. And now we've got the biggest data leak that's ever happened. So it's like, if you guys believe in the apocalypse, start prepping, whatever you got to do, because I don't know, man, shit seems to just be heating up. Anyways, we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to wrap it up with our formula like we always do on how to 100% protect your business from Boris Grushenko, my arch nemesis, the cybersecurity anti-hero. No, I don't know if he's even that in in the James Bond movie. Anyways, let's jump in, guys. All right, so Mario, you are the one that kind of first suggested we talk about this. Of course, it's kind of a given because it's such a big deal, but tell us a little bit about what happened, who it happened to, not super technical, but just what it means to us as businesses and individuals.
So, like as a quick, 30,000 overview, the National Public Data Company was breached. They stole, I think the exact number was like 2.9 or almost 3 billion people's social security numbers. So it's almost everybody's social security number is now somewhere on the dark web. They tried to sell it, and they tried to get somebody to buy this information. They couldn't, so they ended up just releasing it into the dark web.
Beautiful. That's comforting,
so,
right? I mean, we talk a lot about privacy, right? In the cybersecurity world, it's privacy is a term that gets thrown around, but I mean, we really, like you said, at this point, we just have to assume that everything about us is available.
Yeah.
One quote I read, it says, "We can't really pretend anymore that social security numbers are private information. It's just another nail in the coffin. There have been so many breaches out there. Every social security number is likely available." So with that, I mean, what's a guy to do, or a gal?
Well, I mean, in some people's cases, if their social security number was leaked, prior to another breach, this is just another thing. So it's like doesn't make a difference to them. But 3 billion people's information was leaked. So this wasn't, like I personally, I check my credit and my dark web and stuff like that. My social security information prior to this was not leaked. But there are steps that people can take now, knowing that information's out there, and somebody has it, and it's literally like it's almost Googling what is Justin Shelley's social security number on the dark web. They'll find it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple different things that you need to do. First of all, even before this breach, what I always recommend is freeze your credit report. With the three major credit agencies, and you can just Google it and say freeze my credit report. They'll come up in order. TransUnion. What's the other two?
Experian. There's three of them, but you put me on the spot. I won't remember anything. Credit agencies.
Experian. What the hell? We should have known this.
Equifax. There we go. I got it. Equifax.
Yeah.
Quick Google search. Thank you, Google.
So you can just go to them. You can just say freeze credit report, and then just go in there, create a login with all three, and then you can just freeze it. And then when you're ready to go and buy a car, or open up a credit card, or a mortgage or something, just go in there like a couple minutes before. You can even do it right from your phone and just unfreeze it, get everything done, and freeze it back.
And that you can do for free. Just by the way, this is not like you go onto those sites. This is not. They will try to sell you stuff. Don't get me wrong, because they all have, which probably is our next talking point. They all have credit monitoring service, and this is different, right? This is just go in and lock it down so that people cannot pull your credit. So
exactly.
All right, so let's say we've done that. What else do we need to be on the lookout for?
So just like you said, the credit monitoring. Like essentially, you put this in place, it will tell you, will send you a report or an alert that something, is happening with your credit. Somebody applied for a new credit card, somebody ran your credit, and some of it may actually be good, like you're going for a mortgage, they're going to run your credit. You'll get alerts, but you'll know that it's there. But it'll also tell you, which is good. It'll also tell you if somebody reported something bad on your credit, like if you missed a bill with a credit card company or something, and they start reporting your credit. It'll also start telling you stuff like that.
Okay. So get a
Okay.
good credit monitoring service. I mean, the go-to, at least the OG, right? The first one that at least I knew of, LifeLock. I love to talk about this because it's funny. Do you remember this, Mario? And I think we've even talked about it on the podcast here. That this guy, his late night infomercial stuff, and he'd run around in a van. The
Yeah, with their
van
social.
with no, yeah, with the Social Security. And it's like, I'm so confident that my stuff works. I can't be hacked. And then, of course, what he doesn't admit to anybody is that he had his identity theft stolen. What I can find with a quick search, this is old information though, 13 times, and maybe more since then. So, but I like this is kind of an interesting thing to talk about though, because he made his Social Security number public. I mean, he painted a target on his back, but like right now, all of us kind of had that target. So, um, we've got this target on our back. We lock down our credit. We get the monitoring service. Um, Nothing is foolproof though in this case. So we want to talk about maybe some specific things that we can do once we've got those two basics in place. And you mentioned one when we were prepping for the call, is medical bills. I had not thought about that. Tell me a little bit about your position on medical bills.
Yeah, so when when somebody steals your credit, what they're, the things that they can do with it is obviously open up a credit card with it, or do stuff, file taxes with it and stuff like that. But another thing is, um, go under your medical, do medical bills. Like they can get like, go to a doctor's office and receive benefits under your Social Security. So when you get those statements or those EOBs, explanation of benefits from your insurance company, after a doctor's visit, they'll tell you like, this is what we received as a bill. This was the procedure, this was whatever, this is how much the doctor's office billed, and this is how much we paid for. So it's called an EOB. 99, including myself, when I see this, once I see this is not a bill, I just
Right,
throw it
throw
out.
it away. Yep.
Yeah, but what you need to start doing, is start checking, making sure that this is something that you actually or your family member it's legitimate. You went to that doctor, you did that
Right.
procedure.
Right. At least
Yeah,
that the office visit, the procedure, whatever is legitimate, even if you don't want to read through the 37 pages of fine print that
yeah,
we all agree that we've
because
read.
also keep in mind, some people will say, oh, whatever, the insurance is paying for it. Well, those guys are not paying their copay and they're not paying their deductible, when they go visit the doctor's office. So surely after this, if they, for example, for simplicity, say the doctor's office billed, $1,000, but the insurance company is only paying like 800, depending on your insurance policy, that $200 is going to be billed to you.
Right.
And if you don't pay for it, that's going to start affecting your credit. So that's some of the things that you want to start looking for. You want to say, okay, yes, this was me. This is legitimate. Okay, now you can throw it out. But if it's not, you want to take action, call the doctor's office, call the insurance and stuff like that.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's go with passwords. And passwords, something we've talked about before, but it's just common practice, common uh, procedure. Change your passwords. And this is the problem with passwords, though, is the rules. If we follow every rule about passwords, we get to the point where we as humans are not wired to do this. They have to be complex. They have to be long. They have to be different for every site. And personally, and tell me your thoughts on this, Mario, but I don't know that there's a way the human brain can do this without a password manager. So I always recommend password managers. You agree with that?
100%.
Now, that said, when I'm going out and meeting with a prospect or, somebody who I haven't done business with yet, do you know how often I find good password managers in place?
One out of
What's
100.
yeah? I mean, is that your experience too?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's really out of like 100 network assessments, I want to say maybe I saw one. And from the one that, top of my head, the one that I did see wasn't a business password manager. Like, so it was the personal one, he got a personal password manager, installed it on the computer. His passwords for everything is on there, but it's not managed by the company.
Right.
So if that person leaves or something happens, all those passwords are going to go with him. So, obviously some things with business, passwords like, 365 and Gmail and stuff like that, if it's set up correctly from the admin, you can reset it. But it's more to kind of like hygiene when you are using it. You want to have somebody that's using passwords your employees using, good passwords that nobody's going to remember, even them. Like, I don't know, I know one password, and
Yeah.
that one password is to my password manager.
Right.
Okay. But you don't want anybody, including the user, to remember passwords, because then it's easily cracked.
So I'm with you. Now I am a nerdy type, and I will tell you that my password to my password manager is, I'm not going to give exact numbers, but somewhere between 20 and 30 random characters that I've memorized. And I have patterns where I can mix it up if and when I need
Mhm.
to. Um, that's probably not going to work for most people. So what do we do when we need a super long, super complex password that we can actually remember? Do you have any advice for people on that one?
Um, well, it's, the one thing in a lot of sites allow you to do this is now you can actually write like space, like put in the spaces. So you can actually put in like a sentence.
Right.
Obviously, the sentence doesn't need to make sense. Like, I wear black shoes. Like you want to have something that with spaces, a sentence, but a sentence that you're going to remember. Maybe throw in some numbers here, where you're going to remember it. Um, but that's it. I mean, do you have advice for that?
No, that's kind of where I would have gone too. Is just, and I think they even call them passphrases instead of passwords.
Yeah, phrases. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can just put a sentence in there, throw some punctuation in, throw a special character capitalizes or capitalization, where you'll remember it. But now you can go from where, this nerdy little dude can memorize and brag about a 20 whatever character password. I mean,
hmm
you can get 50 or 60 characters in it because it's a
Yeah,
sentence.
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
um, much better procedure. Just remember the sentence.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Uh, and then obviously, is including your password manager, you should have two-factor authentication
right,
to everything that offers two-factor authentication. I mean, a lot of
right.
sites now force you to do it anyway.
Yeah. And, more and more, I've said this for a long time, but if security isn't the biggest pain in your ass, then you're not doing it right. And that sucks, but it just is the reality of using technology these days.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
bite the bullet and take a few steps and because again, we're all for sale. If it wasn't true before, it always has been, but it is really true right now. So
Exactly.
last tip we want to throw out there is, and this again, we've touched on this before, so we'll keep it pretty brief. But I'm going to punt this back to you, Mario. Direct deposit changes. Talk about that.
So we've seen this a few times, okay? And when I say a few times, I mean a few times within the last couple months, all right? And um, somebody will open up a Gmail account, and they'll say, that they'll change the name to Justin Shelley, even though the email address makes no sense. It could be John, a bunch of letters and numbers at Gmail.
Right.
Not, a bunch of people just look at the name, and they'll say, hey, they'll go on LinkedIn, see who is like the HR manager, whoever, and say, I need to change my direct deposit information. Here's my new bank account and routing information.
Right.
And then the person in charge of payroll, what do? They go in there and change the direct deposit information. And that employee, when it comes time to get paid, goes to the managers like, hey, I didn't get paid this week. What happened, or this period? And they're like, oh, well, it processed. We even put in your new bank account information. Like, I didn't have any new bank account information. And then, the hacker just received, a paycheck, for probably 2 weeks worth of pay for, nothing.
Right.
And
these are things where you can't get that money back. It's gone. Banks can't get it
Yeah.
back. When money's transferred electronically like that, it's convenient, it's great, but man, you've got to have it right. So yeah, double check, triple check, and put policies around how you allow people to change their banking information with both vendors, clients, well, all three: vendors, clients, and employees. These are the three places where you've got to have a good policy in place to make sure that when changes are made, they're absolutely legitimate. Can't afford to make mistakes there.
What I tell my clients is, any employee, like, this has to be a policy, any employee that is changing their banking account information, they need to come and do it in person.
Do it in person. Right.
They cannot send it
Which
to
is
you in
great
Teams.
for HR.
They can't send it to you.
Yeah.
But
you
they have
can't
to
always
walk
do
in
that.
and fill out a form.
And I love that, which you can do with employees. You can't always do that with vendors and clients, customers, patients. So, in those cases, you just need another form of identifying them. It's kind of like two-factor authentication, but if the first communication is over email, make sure that the next one is over a phone number. That wasn't on the email, by the way. Know the phone number. Don't, if I email you, Mario, and I'm like, hey, update my information. By the way, if you have any questions, call this number or email me back here, or fill out this form on my website. Don't do that. Get your information from a different source. So,
and then what I do suggest is, like, and we talk to client, because we work with a lot of construction companies, so they're receiving ACH payments back and forth and stuff, and it's a substantial amount of money. Whenever a vendor or client is sending you ACH information, pick up the phone, call them like, hey, I just got your email, I got your ACH, I just want to confirm it over the phone real quick. It's going to take 45 seconds.
Yep.
But I do have a funny story about the direct deposit. So obviously, I know about cybersecurity and whatever. But occasionally I'll check my spam filter, and I went in there, and I just want to make sure that nothing that I need is in there. And I saw somebody send me an email with my salesperson's name on there, Steve. And I knew right away, obviously it was, spam. It was in my spam folder. I'm checking it, and it says, I need to change my bank information. It was from a Gmail or a Yahoo account. I don't remember. And, I felt like, oh, let's mess with this guy. And I replied to him. I'm like, sure, no problem. As you know, you need to fill out this enclosed form from Paychecks. Please fill it out and send it out. I sent it. Within 2 minutes, they ended up sending it back. Obviously leaving, they left like some things blank, and I replied to them like, oh, well, you have to fill out the social security number. You forgot it. And then they replied within a couple minutes, like, sure, no problem. And they sent it back. They filled out the social security number, but it was the wrong social security number. Of course,
yeah.
But after today's conversation, you never know. They may come back with the right social security number.
Right, yeah.
But again, I would have never processed it. I knew what I was doing. I knew who else, I knew I wasn't talking to my salesperson that, by the way, I share a wall with.
Right.
But I wanted to kind of just mess with them. So always do as much as you can in person, especially when it comes to somebody's paycheck or bank account information, stuff like that. Always do it in person.
Okay. I like that one. All right. Like I said, we've talked about that one before. We have episodes on it. So we'll move on from there, and we're going to move to our weekly cybersecurity tip. Now, it's perfect timing because I came in this morning. I open up, I wiggle the mouse. I don't turn my computer off. I don't, but anyways, I log in, and the first thing I see is this pop-up that says message from Phoenix IT advisors. Reboot is required. Recent update. Have, whatever. Press here to press yes to reboot, press no to do it later. So this is, and I know my own system. I know that this is legitimate. I'm the one that actually set this up. So it's pretty easy for me to know that this pop-up is legitimate and that I really should push yes. By the way, guys, let your computers reboot. I know it's inconvenient, but it needs to happen. But the problem is these pop-ups, these system pop-ups can look really legitimate. I've seen them come up from Norton, Norton antivirus, and I'm putting that in quotes, because it's not Norton, and it'll be something to the effect of, your computer's infected with a virus, you've got to run this software to clean it, or call this phone number, even worse, and you call the number up and they say, oh yeah, let me just get some access to your computer real quick and we'll get you cleaned up, we'll get you taken care of, no charge. That's always nice. Or actually, I've had people say that they pay a fee to have this very friendly remote technician help clean up their computer and steal all their information. So what's better than paying a criminal to do their job, right? So let's just talk through this, Mario. We don't have a lot of notes on it, but we live in this world. What are some things that you've seen and some tips you would give people on how to know the difference between a legitimate message that pops up on the computer that is addressing security or computer performance, and how to know, like, how do you know the difference? What do you do? What are your thoughts?
Well, one thing that those notorious messages that come up and says, "Oh, your computer's compromised. Call this number," and it makes it look like it's from Microsoft. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just let everybody know out there, all our listeners, Microsoft will never ask you to call them for support. They don't want to support. They don't want to support. They even for us as people that will sell Microsoft, they don't want us to call them.
We can't get them to support us for. I mean, I think it used to be $500 per incident. I don't even know what it is now because it's been a while. But good luck. Yeah,
and it will take weeks, if not months, for them to actually call you back. Okay, so if you see something that says call this number, it's not legitimate. Right away. If you see this number, it's not legitimate. If it comes up and it says, like, we don't really use the number, we usually just say we need to update, that's it. We don't put in our phone number. Not that we don't want our customers to call us, but our customers know our number. So, if you do see a number, and it's from Phoenix IT or Mastech IT, and that's the right number, the same number we put on everything, then that most likely is legitimate. But if you're unsure, call us. I'm sure, we have no problem, telling you if it's legitimate or not. Justin, I'm sure you have no problem. You're better off calling than taking the wrong step.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's really similar to changing wire instructions. What we were just talking about before is just verify it.
Yeah.
If you have any questions at all, get a hold of your IT company.
Exactly.
So
you're better safe than sorry.
Right. All right. I think that's probably good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to talk about on the pop-ups, but it really just comes down to verifying.
Yeah. And then, sometimes you will notice that, like, your pop-up blocker, like built in Google Chrome, may come up on the very top by the address bar that says it blocked something.
Right.
Like if you go to a bank account information and it has like another page that's supposed to pop up, it is going to, those are safe, but if that's if you're waiting for something to pop up with like a login. But again, if you're unsure, call your IT people and, have them, speak to them. Say, hey, I got this. Is this you guys? What should I do? Chances are you just need to close your browser and go back in.
Right. Yeah. Usually that's about all it is. Or it's also possible that you actually have a virus that needs to be cleaned up. So,
yeah.
All right. That's our weekly cybersecurity tip. Let's talk about business, Mario. and I say this frequently, I think to some extent it's true for both you and Bryan as well. But as much as I love technology, and I got into business because of technology, my real passion is business. It's that's what I love. Um, and so we've started integrating a weekly business tip into the podcast. And today, what I really wanted to go over is, I just keep hearing over and over, there's just so much fear around an upcoming recession. So, I mean, you're hearing this too, I assume.
Of course,
It's everywhere. So let's take, just maybe 2 minutes. I don't want to get too into this, but like there's, there's nothing we can do about it. It's either going to happen or it's not. So what are some things that we can do to, let's call it recession proof our business? But no, yeah, I've got something to say, but I'm going to wrap up with that. So give me your thoughts on that, Mario. What is if you had a crystal ball, what does it say? Are we going into a recession or no?
If I had a crystal ball, it would probably say I don't think so.
Okay.
It just, and the thing is, the reason I think that is because with the way they've been increasing interest rates, I think it would have happened already. But
yeah,
I feel like right now we're at a period of time where we may not hit that recession in the near future.
I believe and I think and I hope what you said is true. What I will add to it is that we are in weird times. COVID was, we don't have a lot of history where we took a planet and we powered it down for a year, 2 years, and then rebooted it. Do you ever have you ever rebooted a server and had it not come back on?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like that's what we did with the planet, with the economy. We just like, let's turn it off. It'll be fine. We're going to just turn it off and we're going to wait this thing out. We'll turn it back on. Everything will be fine. Everything wasn't fine. We've got a lot of things going on. We've got housing prices going through the roof. We've got food prices going through the roof. The inflation is high. So recession or no, we're kind of in these times of uncertainty, and a lot of people are in some version of financial distress, if not fear, or fear if not distress. I said that backwards. So what can we do as business owners to brace against, even if it's not a recession, to brace against rising costs and shrinking profits? Do you have any thoughts there?
Well, actually, this is a conversation that I had with a good amount of clients. If you're able to, you want to see some vendors will give you the ability to lock in a rate, or lock in a price if you do like a 3-year contract.
That's good. Yeah.
For certain things that you need. Obviously, if you're going to plan on staying in business, you do need security, you need IT. So we have clients that will lock in for 3 years, and we say, listen, we're going to go out to all the vendors, and we're going to lock you in for 3 years, and that way, no matter what happens next year, you'll be paying the same price.
I like that. Yeah.
If you can do it, do it.
Okay.
Same thing with like phone company. Like we have Verizon Fios in the area, and we have like Optimum. And they have like, contracts where it's not necessarily a contract, but it's a rate lock, and I've gone to, Optimum because they told me that they were going to have a rate lock for 3 years. It wasn't like I was locked in necessarily for 3 years, but they locked me in for 3 years.
Right.
So I went with them, so if you can do stuff like that, that's always good.
Yeah. I think all of it comes down to, or a lot of it does, just relationships. Relationships are critical. So, number one, yeah, talk to your vendors. Like, what can we do? I would look for flexibility. So a lot of contracts, 3 years, we want to protect price. But what if, you or I lose clients, or our clients downsize and we lose seats? Now that becomes an issue in our contracts with our vendors, right? So maybe we can negotiate some sort of flexibility. I'll lock in this 3 years, but hey, if my client loses some seats, what can we do? Maybe have that conversation.
Yeah.
And then I would argue that when we talk to our clients and negotiate all this, find out what their fears are, find out where they're uneasy, because we all have different things that bother us and that we're afraid of. And if we can take those fears and alleviate them with an updated contract, say, okay, let's get that 3-year contract in place that protects both of us. And then if your fear is this, we're going to work that into the agreement so that, because the last thing we want to do is do damage to our clients in the process, right? We all want to make money, but none of us want to hurt our client. We're here to help. We're here to, be in business together. So if I've got a client that they lose half their business, they need half the service. And if I hold their feet to the fire on a contract, all I'm going to do is help them go out of business. It doesn't do anybody any good. So that's a thought that I had. And again, I don't want to spend a bunch of time on this, but maybe if you've got any other final thoughts, go ahead and shoot them. And then, if not, we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up.
Yeah, I mean, you see it all around. You see it on the news and stuff like that. People somewhat are hesitant, to spend some money right now, waiting for the upcoming election and stuff like that. Always have a plan. Always have say, okay, I have, if I need to, I'll go 2 months. I can go 2 months or something, but have you got to look at it, what you're paying it per month. If I need to cut back, create an A, B, and C list, like what you can cut back on and stuff like that. Hopefully it's not technology.
Right. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So, we've talked about, again, it just seems like week after week, we're talking about the biggest, baddest, most ugliest, thing that's happened in the world of technology. And I'd really love to see that turnaround. I would love to jump on this call one week and have nothing to talk about. That would be fantastic. Doesn't seem to be the trend we're going in. So guys, take care of your technology, take care of your people, get your policies and procedures in place. What we always say, the formula really to make this all happen, to really protect your business and where technology and cybersecurity is concerned, is it's about protecting your technology, your data, and your people using industry standards, just best practices. And that's what we do. That's what our audit is all about. We'll come in and we'll measure your technology against that. Gets you to about 97%. And from there, get a good insurance policy, cybersecurity insurance policy in place. And then you're good. You're at 100%. You can take a break. Maybe you can take a 2-week vacation, Mario?
Yeah. I have the perfect place for you.
Egypt, not on my radar, but now maybe it needs to be. With that, Mario, I'm going to kind of tease that next episode, we're bringing on a guest who is an insurance expert in the world of cybersecurity and technology. So usually he is interfacing directly with our clients. And so we're going to bring him in and we're going to talk about that here together. So
I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. All right, that's all I've got. Any final thoughts or key takeaways, Mario?
One thing I do want to offer to all our clients, and I'm sure, Justin, you're offering it to your clients as well, because of this upcoming or recent, breach, we would love to offer our listeners a free dark web scan to kind of just let you know what of your information and your company information is already on the dark web. So this is in addition to our cybersecurity, scans and stuff like that. We'll also give you a dark web scan so that you know what information like social and stuff like that is out on the dark web for you.
Yep, absolutely. That's key. That's important. And yes, I will second that offer as well as part of our network assessment that we will do for anybody out there. So ring us up on unhacked.live and schedule one of these assessments, get a dark web scan. Let us help you set up a password manager for the love of all things holy. And let's fight this battle and stop letting these bad hackers take over our bank accounts and our lives. So that's what I've got. Mario, thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, everybody, for having me.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.